One of those days where I wrote down so many things, I have no idea how I'm getting all of them. And I know Scott Wilson's coming on at 11 o'clock, so I've got... really, it's built around the things that I couldn't stop watching yesterday, most notably Joe Brady's news conference. Joe Brady made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show. Josh Allen dropped in on that. Brandon Beane dropped in on that. Josh Allen had his own news conference. Josh Allen's on crutches. Josh Allen had foot surgery. The Bills look to have an offensive coordinator. That's new this morning. And then the Sabres won again. And then I want to address something that's in the chat because I think it's very important. Real quick, things I wrote down about the Sabres, who played last night, beat the Kings 4-1, and it just keeps happening. For those of you who might not be paying attention, and I know the vast majority of you watch more Sabres hockey than I do, but it's worth noting what's happening here. So right now what we're looking at is 4-1 win over the Kings. They're third in the Atlantic Division. They're fourth in the Eastern Conference. They're 8 points up on the first team out of the playoffs. Like, this isn't just, we're in, then we're out, then we're in, then we're out, like they were for a week or two. They're just still pushing forward. That's because they keep winning. They had a record of 11-4-4, or 11-14-4 was their record on December 8th. And that's when the 3-game winning streak happened, and then Kevin Adams got fired. So they were 11-14-4 on December 8th. Since then, they have gone 20-3-1 to put them at 31 wins, 17 losses, 5 overtime losses. Alex Tuck had a hat trick. Darlene had one the other night. Alex Lyon has won 10 consecutive games. He's one of only, 5 or 6 active NHL goaltenders to have done that. The record for active goaltenders being at 14 right now. So, they go on the ice expecting to win, and then they just do. And they're scoring like crazy. And this is entirely different from anything we've seen in a long, long time out of this team. And it's super cool. I was out at one of the 4 practices that my kids had yesterday. We had 3 basketball practices and a baseball practice between 4:30 and 8 o'clock at night. And everybody made it to all of them. We did it somehow. We got to get these kids driving soon because this is rough. We had to have one kid picked up at the exact same time that another kid had to be somewhere, but the kid who had to be picked up also had to be at that same place an hour later. So it was drop off one, take one here. Wife picks him up, brings him here, takes him to baseball. I bring 2 of them home from basketball. I go back and pick up a kid from baseball. Somewhere in those travels, it was at the baseball practice, the hockey game was on. I'm standing around with a couple of the other dads, and the conversation just turned to Kevin Adams. I'm like, what's life like right now for Kevin Adams? I'm just picturing just drinking and throwing glasses at a television. That's my team. I drafted him. I traded for him. I built all of this. But something changed. Maybe right before he got fired, but it certainly seems like something's right about a switch there. And for all the lamenting for the past week and a half or so about McDermott being gone and he's the wrong guy to go, and Bean doesn't belong here, and they're a joke, and it's a disaster, and the press conference is a mess. Really, yesterday went, I thought, as smoothly as possible for the Bills. And we're looking at what change did at the top or near the top of the organization for the Sabres, even though he hasn't actively made any moves yet. It's hard to say that it's totally the wrong move to tweak the vibe at One Bills Drive. And even with the, I would say perceived disappointment in the hiring of Joe Brady, I thought they did a really nice job yesterday of explaining. And, of course he had an inside track because he's been there. Of course that's true. But they really downplayed it, and I thought did so in a good way and in a plausible way, in a believable way that this guy is the guy that earned a job. This guy's going to be a head coach somewhere. We already had him here. We're keeping him here. And if you want to not like Brady, if you want to think that this is a lazy hire and it's, if we're changing, why aren't we changing? If you want to do that, I think you could watch his news conference and say, this guy's in over his head. He looks nervous. I think he was nervous. I think that was genuine. He's in a suit. He doesn't want to be in a suit. He's at a podium. He doesn't want to be at a podium right now. He's processing. There's a lot going on. Having the keys to a franchise with a driver named Josh turned over to you, it's a lot of pressure, and you know you're ready to do it. But you don't know you're ready to do it until you do it, so you got to do it, and then you'll find out what you don't know. I found myself, I was comparing myself to Joe Brady, just thinking about the brain vault thing. Like, yeah, I can host a live trivia show. Yeah, we can sell tickets for it. I can write it. I can do all that. I'll bring my friends. We'll fill up the stage. It'll be fun. The technology's all going to work. It's going to be perfect. And then you get there and you're like, well, that didn't work and that didn't work, but we have another game next week. Trying to go 1-0 every week. We went 1-0. But I'd like to dominate the opponent a little bit more, and I know what the tweaks are that need to be made. And I kind of feel like that's, people were asking me, how you feeling about going into this show? And I was like, good. I'm good. I mean, I expect there to be problems, and then we've got to fix them, and I hope that it's, nothing crazy happens. And I kind of feel like that's where Brady is, and he's being super honest about it. And once he settled in, like the part at the podium I thought was a little rough. But then over the course of the day, I felt like I got to know Joe Brady more, especially from watching his appearance on the Pat McAfee show, which I highly recommend. I'd put the link up, but then you'd go watch that instead of hanging out with me. And you still could do that. You still might. I can't control it. But hearing him in a very loose environment, talking about how, I trip over my words and I curse a lot. And McAfee's like, yeah, but you know what? At the end, he's like, I do that. And at the end, you know what I meant, right? And it was cool. And it made me start wondering how much of Sean McDermott not being fun impacted the looseness or lack thereof around playoff time. There's a swagger that the Bills have had since Josh Allen became this thing that he is. And there's a tightening of the organization, of the team on the field that we see on display repeatedly in the playoffs. And again, I'm never going to just point at McDermott and be like, you blew it. You got us all the way here, and that wasn't you. But now that we lost, that was you. Like, that's stupid. But changing the vibe, flavor of the organization, and throwing in this, I'm not going to say lunatic, but he really just seems like a fun, intense, I'm going with this, and if it doesn't work, then we'll do something else. But I got an idea. I saw myself in Joe Brady a lot yesterday, and I would imagine a lot of people did. I think he's more interesting than the boring hire label would imply. Just seemed cool. Like if he was the coordinator, and they kind of use this analogy too, but if he was the coordinator for a different team, and then the Bills brought him in amongst several other candidates, and they chose him, I think we'd say, ooh, I like this guy's energy. He's got a good vibe to him. That's what I would be saying. Turns out he also has been in the building for a while. And he's also, committed to Western New York. He's already into both of my kids are born here. They're from Buffalo. I'm from South Florida, but not anymore. This is where I want to be. And, of course, you say that. A lot of it is the stuff that anyone would say. But I got a real general positive vibe off of the way he carried himself yesterday, the way that he interacted with Bean. Also, Bean on a stage in front of the media without Terry Pagula there, way better. It's my understanding he was there, sitting in the front row, but did not make it about him at all. Rightly so. Good job. either Terry for stepping aside or Bill's communications department for going, you're going to sit over there and the camera's going to face there and you're not going to get in front of it. See this thing? No. No, no, no. See this microphone? No. You've spoken. We've been digging ourselves out of it for the last few days. Now you shut up, and we're going to let the guy that we pay to speak, and the guy that we're paying to coach, who's going to stumble over some things because he's new, and he talked fast, and he's exciting, and excited, and excitable. We're going to let them show what the vibe is, because every time the vibe is you, the vibe stinks. So no you. You go there. Camera go there. And we'll be fine. All right, real pressing issue here coming from the chat. Hold on. And I think it's a great question. It comes in from Ben. I'm going to scroll up for it. I'm sorry. Anyone else wondering how Brad is going to maintain his fantastic new look? Seriously, do they give you instructions on how to keep looking that good? And that comes from an interested listener named Ben. Thanks for calling, Ben. Thanks for writing. Thanks for your interest. Thanks for the compliment. I do look good. Again, good for me. It's a relative term, but I went from zero to hero. I'm a 80s sitcom. I came down the stairs. I took off my glasses. I undid my ponytail, and now I'm this. Although I will say, it's been a week, and while when I came home from getting taken care of at Buffalo Trim, I thought it was a little jarring. Like I walked in the house and just kind of strolled upstairs. My wife's there. Like, open the door, stick my head in. She's like, oh, okay, all right. And I mean, I knew it looked. What's the word? Not fake, but it didn't look like me. Like it looked a little too put on. I looked AI. I looked a little AI. But with a week of growth and things getting a little scruffed, like I started thinking about sending a text to Isabel, my stylist. I'm just going to start calling her that. When I say Buffalo Trim, I am referring to my stylist, Isabel. But like, what length? I don't know what they call those things, shields or whatever, to trim this, because it's fine right now, but this is a week's worth of growth, and I mean, I'm not like halfway back to what I was, but it's noticeably longer and less put together, and I want to know, I don't want to accidentally cut it down too short. I want to get back to exactly what it looked like a week ago. And I don't want to have to go every week. I don't need that. The hair can go, I would say, probably 3 weeks or maybe even a month before I have to go do it again. But this, like, what's the plan here? I did one time use the little edging trimmer one, like you get the line back, and like there and down here. But I haven't done anything to any of this. And I don't know if I'm being needy if I send a text to my stylist and say, what do I do now? It's been a week. It feels pretty lame. But I might have to, because I'm wondering the same thing as you, Ben. How long can this last without something being done to maintain? Nick in Depew says, they give you a pamphlet or something. Coach says he has to go back weekly to get it dyed. That's not true. Ben comes back in. That level of improvement is worth the weekly visit, or at least following the directions in their Maintain Your Awesomeness instructional booklet. It's inside that. It's what's inside that counts, says Ray. All right, the rest of this I don't know about. Not related to the show. It's fine. So yeah, I am concerned. We're still doing fine. But I think there is some level of maintenance required between now and stage show number 2, Brain Vault at the Kaz, Tuesday night. Tickets available at thekazbuffalo.com. I've gotten really good feedback on that. In fact, I have a I mean, this is Nick who's in the chat anyway, but there's an email from Nick that came in that I meant to read, and I forgot to do that yesterday or the day before. It says, a brief thank you from a listener. Brad, hi there. I had the pleasure of attending your first show at the Kaz Tuesday night. My friend and I both had a great time. I stumbled onto the podcast a few months ago, and it's become regular mid-morning company at my desk. There's a real charm to the show, and it reliably makes me laugh. Regarding the gift box I left with you, I was experimenting with multicolor 3D printing on a single layer, and the idea felt like a fun prototype and a fitting gift. Definitely handmade, definitely not perfect. I think it's perfect. They're both perfect. But I think I managed to beat the Temu version. That's true. Thought it was a light. I really thought that they were sending me one of these lights. These two lights. I thought that was going to be the thing. And I'd have a switch, and I'd turn them on when I was on. Maybe I'd put something up on the door to keep the kids out. I got a metal sign. It's about 8 by 12. Now I have this. 2 of them. And I'm not going to light it up. It lights up. But on the screen, it looks worse lit up. Here, I will light it up. See that? You can't see it as well, but it does that. It's got dimming. Various phases. So I've got 2 of these. That's what we're referring to. 3D printed. It's better than the Temu version. I couldn't decide which version I like better, so you got 2 to do with as you'd like. Thanks again for all the free entertainment and for a fun night at the show. Looking forward to podcast episode number 1,000 and everything in between. Thank you. And that is from Nick in Depew. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Nick chimes in constantly. He's always listed as number 1 on the chat thing. Are you getting more attention at home, if you know what I mean? How am I going to choose to answer that? Yes. I mean, yes. It worked. It was a giggle at first. Story of my life. It was a giggle at first. I will say that I was called, in a real moment, I was called young man by my wife, who is 6 years younger than I am. And all I said was, I want to look about 6 years younger. And then she called me young man. The answer is yes, Ray. Thanks for asking. The phrase no self lambda comes to mind, and that's an inside joke for 2 people that are paying attention right now. All right. The other thing I saw, back to Brady, I had so there's a lot going on yesterday, right? Yesterday was do the show. I'm working on editing video from the previous show so that we could do promotional stuff. Buffalo Trim wants it. The financial guys want it. I want it. YouTube needs it. The fans need it. The Kaz wants it. Everybody wants it. It's a pretty heavy undertaking, editing down 7 different cameras. I could just stop overthinking it. I could just plug it into AI, too, and let it come up with what it wants. Maybe I'll do that. Because I'm overthinking it and get stuck. So anyway, the show ends. I have to edit the yesterday's show and publish that, and then handle little tweaks on the previous one. And then I have to do this thing, and all of it led to me not even leaving the basement yesterday until like 10 to 4 when my wife came downstairs and said, are you going to take care of the driveway? And at that point, I realized, oh, man, we're launching into it. We've got 4 practices tonight. I've got to go. I've got a truck, so I can get out of the driveway, no problem. But it had not occurred to me that it was still winter and snowing because, the kids went to school. Usually if there's a thought of snow, they're home. Shockingly, they're in school again today, which is amazing, back to back, especially once I heard last night that Buffalo schools were closed. I'm like, okay, now everybody's just going to fall in line. Not the case with our district, which is awesome. So the kids are at school. But it's 10 to 4 when she's like, yeah, the driveway is pretty bad. And I can get out because I have a truck and I can just blast through what the plow did at the bottom of the driveway. But she's got a minivan and that's not blasting through anything. So I have to leave in about 15 minutes to take my kid to his basketball practice. But also, I'm then coming back, picking up another kid to take him to his basketball practice. And after I leave is when my wife's going to have to try to get out of the driveway with the van. So I enjoy snowblowing, but not at the kind of pace I had to do it yesterday. So it was hustling and moving heavy snow with heavy equipment. And yeah, it's got, it powers itself and it, pulls ahead and all that stuff. But it's still, when you're trying to do it faster than you should, it's grueling. So I had like a 14-minute grueling snowblowing session that still did not do enough to satisfy us long term. But it was enough for me to get out and her to get the van out of the driveway. And I'm like, I'll just park in the street. I'll deal with it when I get home. So it was hurry. Oh, and I needed a shower. No, I didn't. That's 2 days ago. I'm sorry. That's another story. So it was just hanging out, just staring at a computer, just editing video, just sending emails and answering things and working on little league crap, all the stuff that I do, but I was caught up in it and forgot, oh yeah, there's a whole world outside that you need to attend now. And I had to clear the driveway for that. So it was driveway, drop a kid off at basketball practice, come home, get changed, go to basketball practice, coach a basketball practice, sit through another one that my other kid had since been dropped off to, then bring those two kids home, then go pick up my other kid from baseball practice, then come back here, then snowblow. And what happens when I snowblow? 30 seconds into snowblowing, out of gas. And guess what? That was the last of the gas. Now I have to go to the gas station just to finish. I had 11 minutes of snowblowing to do. I got through 3 of them and then had to pack that up. And all of it is just messy because it's, traipsing in. Oh, now I have to get my keys. And now I have to find my wallet. And now I have to go, where's the gas can? And now I have to go to the gas station. And I'm wearing the puffy coat because in the boots and all the stuff. And it's just like, I like snowblowing on, while I complain about snow days. Snow day, nobody's got to go anywhere. Got all day to do it. Load up podcasts on the headphones. I'll do the neighbors' driveways too. We talked about this with Bob Gone last week. I'm right near a corner lot, and the house has been vacant. They're moving in a couple weeks, so it's kind of like they come over, and they've been actually really good about keeping it clean. But they're not in the house yet, so it's kind of like, I'll help out. New people, why not? So there's a lot, and I don't mind doing it. I don't mind being out there for 2 hours. I do mind being out there trying to do it all in 10 minutes. And then trying to do it again real quick to wrap up and realizing I'm out of gas and having to go get that. When I finally was done with that, I came in the house. It's Thursday. Grey's Anatomy's on. It's not that I don't like the show. I can't even be in the same room as it. I get grossed out by it's fake. I know it's fake. But surgery on TV is just so gross to me. I can't stomach it. And then I tried a couple weeks ago to be in the same room, just facing the other way. I was on a couch, but away from the TV. And just the stuff they were talking about was so gross that I had to get away. But you can't get enough of it. So I was like, all right, I'm going downstairs. And I turn on TV, and the first thing that comes up is YouTube. Not YouTube TV, but regular YouTube. And it's the Bean and Brady press conferences are there. But then also there's a Josh one I didn't know happened. So I sit and I watch that. And then that finishes. And I felt great watching him, of course. When do you ever watch Josh Allen, aside from that one where he cried that I didn't watch because I don't want to see that one? Where do you not come away feeling great after listening to Josh Allen talk about playing football for your team? So I did that. Then the next suggested video was Pat McAfee show. So I watched, 20 minutes or something, however long that was, of Brady on that show, which, again, I highly recommend. And then it recommended Fitz. The Ryan Fitzpatrick and Andrew Whitworth do a podcast together, and Fitz did a whole thing. Because I know I saw an article a week or so ago where, and I didn't read it, but the headline was that Fitz said it was absolutely wrong to have Josh involved in the search. So I don't know if that's really what he said or that's just the headline version of it. But in my mind, he's got a negative kind of view of how the Bills have been operating here. But I click on this thing, and it's just, I mean, Fitz is so great to listen to. But he said he just wanted to understand it, so he called Brandon Beane, and he got Beane on the phone. And then he went on to explain everything that Beane had told him and what made him feel better. And it made me feel better. And I already felt better because I had watched both of the Brady things and the Josh thing and this, and the Sabres had just won again. So I was already in a pretty good mood. I was ready to be I was susceptible to the happiness that would come from another conversation about Brady. And it came from Fitz, who obviously, smart guy, interesting guy, fun guy, loves Buffalo, loves the Bills very clearly. And that's another one I would recommend. Like, part of me is like, don't watch or listen to this. Go do that. You'll feel better. This is just me telling you the stuff that made me feel good. I'd like you to feel good too. And I don't know that I can provide that service. I'll try, though. I'll try. Scott Wilson will be on at 11, and he helps provide that service also. Oh, the other thing that came on, I just remembered, this is what I fell asleep to. This is why I woke up feeling so great. So I wrote down Brady on McAfee, even better. Fitz and Witt talk to Beane. I wrote vibes, and I put an exclamation point. Not positive what I meant by that, but I know that I meant that I felt good watching all this stuff. Vibes, exclamation point. And then the next thing that just popped on YouTube, because the algorithm knows me so well, was an episode of 120 Minutes from MTV. MTV is what I tried to say. And I know this happened a few weeks ago, too, where a random episode of that show popped up, and I watched the whole thing, and it was great. This one was even better, though. This was live performances from the guy who's the host, who I vaguely remember, but the name didn't sound familiar. Real soft-spoken, long dark hair, not super long, but like alternative to long. It was just a series of live performances from the year 1993 that had taken place in the MTV studio. And the first one was Cherub Rock, Smashing Pumpkins, and then it was Juliana Hatfield with an acoustic guitar doing the song My Sister, which I remember from playing it at WGSU in my college radio days at Geneseo. And I always liked the song. I liked it so much better seeing this live acoustic version from 93. And it just went from there. It was incredible. Violent Femmes doing Add It Up live. In fact, now that I think about it, that's where I left off. It was just, I heard day after day. And then I paused it to do something else. Then I wound up at the computer, and then I just went to bed. So that's the next time I turn on my television. It's going to be that day after today, which is great. We're playing that song. I'm not right this second, but when I take a break, we're playing Add It Up because, yeah, I haven't heard it in a while. And I was so excited. I think I had to go to the bathroom and get something to drink. And then while I was doing that, I thought of something I needed to do on the computer. And then after a while, the TV just shuts itself off, and then I forgot about it, and then I walked away. So that must be what's going on. Add It Up. There it is. They said apparently they had played 3 times in that studio, and they had done Blister in the Sun, and they had done Kiss Off. And the guy's like, but here's the best one. And it is the best one. And we're going to play it when we take our break. Just before Scott comes on. What do we got in the chat? Nick and Depew, you must get your lady thoughtful gifts. Got to take a page out of your book. So, yeah, she likes Tage and is going to her second Sabres game tomorrow. So she's getting a big folding Tage the Mage sign to hold. I'm going to be honest with you. While I love these signs, I cannot pretend to understand what 3D printing is. And I've known of its existence since very early. I remember being in a place that did 3D printing, I don't know, it's got to be 15 years ago. And it was marvelous. But I don't understand what it is. And I've got friends who have these things in their homes. And Nick is my new friend, and he's got one in his home, and he can do stuff like this. I can't get my regular printer to work most of the time. It's just a laser jet HP, name brand. But most of the time, it's just like, nah, I don't want to. Every time I turn it on, I have to reinstall it. I mean, it's an automatic thing that pops up on the screen. But I turn the printer on, it goes, and then the thing pops up on the screen. Like, you want to install this printer? Like, yeah, again. Yeah, just like I did 20 minutes ago when I printed something. That's just a 2D printer. I'm just printing show sheets. I got to do that again. This is my last one, I think. But it's going to give me struggles all the time. Like, what is possible with a 3D printer? I mean, I know people, like, there's a problem with 3D printing of weapons and things, but I don't understand what it is. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe I should just look it up. Maybe I'll look it up. Because this is one of those things where I think we all kind of pretend we know. And some of you do. Obviously, Nick does. But I'm just going to type in 3D printing and see what comes up. How about 3D printing? What is it? What's that? 3D printing. The action or process of making a physical object from a three-dimensional digital model, typically by laying down many thin layers of a material in succession. Also called additive manufacturing. It's the construction of three-dimensional object from a CAD model, computer-aided drawing. That one I know. Or digital 3D model. Yeah, we're doing the Wikipedia page on 3D printing right now. Because I don't feel like Nick should be able to make these signs. And I'm glad he does. I'm glad he can, I should say. And I'm glad he did. And I'm thankful. But it doesn't seem like that should be possible just in your home. But it is. It can be done in a variety of processes in which material is deposited, joined, or solidified under computer control, with the material being added together, plastics, liquids, or powder grains being fused, typically layer by layer. In the 80s, 3D printing techniques were considered suitable only for the production of functional or aesthetic prototypes, and a more appropriate term for it at the time was rapid prototyping. As of 2019, the precision, repeatability, and material range of 3D printing has increased to the point that some 3D printing processes are considered viable as an industrial production technology. In this context, the term additive manufacturing can be used synonymously with 3D printing. One of the key advantages is the ability to produce very complex shapes or geometries that would be otherwise infeasible to construct by hand, including hollow parts or parts with internal truss structures to reduce weight while creating less material waste. Fused deposition modeling, which uses a continuous filament of thermoplastic material, is the most common 3D printing process in use as of 2020. So this is 6-year-old information on 3D printing. There's a bunch more. I still don't totally get it. I mean, it's computer, and then you tell it what to do. And I mean, is it all plastic? Everything's plastic. Like, you can design what you want with plastic on a computer and then say, do this. And then it just does that. Is it that simple? Maybe it's that simple. Am I overthinking this or underthinking this? I don't like to do either. I just want to think it. All right. You can print anything if you know what you're doing. People do actually print working firearms, not legal in New York State. There's other materials too, but it's mostly like a plastic resin, however you do that. And I've never know how to say that word. Am I right with that? Yes, there's either FDM or resin. I do filament. FDM is filament. And you can just Google the preset codes that the printers need to work. Like, Google the shape of a Charizard. I don't know what a Charizard. Now I got to look up Charizard. Did you make that word up? You make that up? You messing with me? You people messing with me in the chat? I'm going to find out. Coming for you, Charizard. An orange dragon-like Pokemon. Okay. Yes, it's a made-up word, but in reality, aren't all words made up? Yes. It's known in Japan as Lizardon. Do you know that? Talking Pokemon. This is our first ever Pokemon discussion here on Riter Radio. It took 255 episodes to get here, but damn, here we are. Hey, can you, you guys that are on YouTube, you guys are here right now. Can you please follow me on Spotify? It's Riter Radio. I keep getting these messages from Spotify like I'm doing it wrong. They're saying with the number of listeners we have, the number of downloads we have, the number of this, that, I should have about 275 followers, and I have 97. And it's telling me I'm doing it wrong, and I'm supposed to be asking you. And it's self-serving, obviously, to Spotify. But if you could do that, so they'll stop yelling at me, that would be cool. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, obviously that's something too. I've been seeing those numbers go up. Thanks in part to these little digital shorts that are being generated without my it's just like working in the background, an AI thing where it's just grabbing clips and putting images above it. And, most of those are getting 1,000 views or something like that. I put up one the other day that got to like 5,000 views really quickly. But little by little, those things are kind of tricking people into subscribing to the channel where, I think it's more about this. But, life might be more about 20 and 30-second clips right now. I do a 2-hour show. There are a lot of 20 and 30-second clips. I just don't have time to find them and make something of them. But AI does. So that's why sometimes they're goofy. All these things that you see online. You're watching, if you're like me, you get caught up in these, whether it's shorts or reels or anything where there's videos, and sometimes they're 4 seconds long and sometimes they're a minute 20 long. And a large number of them seem to just cut off mid-word and then restart. That's AI. Like, it's good. It's not perfect. But it is putting stuff out there and getting people to find the show a little. So I'm going to let it keep doing it. There are probably some tweaks I could make to make them look better. But, again, I can't do everything. And I got that thing working kind of. Like, even this, today, I don't know if you've noticed, this box around me. So I'm in here. But, like, the stuff that's there, see how that Riter Radio thing is just squished? And if you're watching on YouTube, I think the whole block is not taking up the full screen. I don't know what I did to make it like this, to like squeeze it together. And it was like, this is probably why I didn't continue watching 120 Minutes and see Violent Femmes do Added Up live in 1993, even though I really wanted to. Because I came and I sat down and here I was messing around. I always, as soon as I remember, I change the episode number to the next one so that I don't do a whole show with the same episode number on the screen as the previous show, which happens on occasion. And I think that's what I thought of. Like, I got to change the number. And I was like, let me try changing. And all of a sudden, I squished it. And, like, the countdown thing, I'll switch over to that. Like, the countdown is totally fine, totally normal sized. See that? That's the way that always looks. But then when we switch back to me, the part I'm in here is fine, but the rest of it is squishy. Like Riter Radio up there is tighter together than it usually is. The stuff down here is even more illegible than it usually is. I'm going to get rid of that soon. This is not this. No. That's not round anymore. That's egg-shaped, oval, oblong, something. Not round. I don't know what I did. But I don't have time to, who cares? Who cares? I'm just going to leave that alone. And the AI videos that are being produced, they're working. Not amazingly, but they're working. So I guess I just got to let that go. Followed and left a rating. Good. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. It's like this guy works for me. Love this guy. It helps that every time, probably in my mind, every time I look on the screen and it says Nick in Depew, there's a crown and it says number 1. Where he's like, oh, he's the top seed. So I'm inclined to like him or respect him or something. And then he shows up with gifts. Damn, man. This is easy. All I had to do to get these lights is 253 episodes of a show. If I quit doing the show after number 250, actually 252, right? Today's 5, 252. Show was over. When did Brain Vault? Got this. Could have just, that's it. Be like, haha, I win. That was my plan. I'm going to do these shows until somebody gives me on-air Riter Radio lights, and then I'm quitting, never to be seen again. I'm not really doing that, but I could have. That's all it took to earn these. It was 252 two-hour radio shows and a brain vault, which is another many, many hours put into that, and many more to come. Tickets on sale for episode 2. Please check it out online. All right. Violent Femmes. I promise. No, not that thing. I didn't want that thing. I want this thing. Violent Femmes, and then, like, I don't know, 1 or 2 more. Probably 3 songs, and then Scott Wilson. It's 10:57. It's episode 255 of Riter Radio. Bills have a new head coach. We think they have a new offensive coordinator in Pete Carmichael. I'm sure we'll talk about that with Scott. I know I didn't get into it yet, but there's that. And the other thing I didn't mention was the commercials contained within 120 minutes. It seems like whoever recorded this on VHS in 1993 was living in Virginia at the time. The commercial for Do the Right Thing bail bonds is among the best local TV ads I've ever seen. And then that led right into a Waffle House commercial. It was fantastic. If I can find those, I will play those. I'm going to see during the break. While I'm doing this, I'm going to look for that. Because I think if I open YouTube, it'll still be on that same video. We'll be right at the 120 or the added up part. I think. We'll see. All right. Scott Wilson's next. I'm Brad. It's Riter Radio. Stay here.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
All right, we're bringing in Scott Wilson by phone. We're not putting Scott Wilson's fake face on the screen yet because I found the thing I was looking for. It's this commercial run. I was watching 120 minutes from 1993 last night. And right before I paused, I was like, these commercials are something. So, Scott, we'll see. Do you remember, because I forgot about this one when I was talking about the things I'm about to show. First of all, it's the commercials you're about to see. One is for a place called Do the Right Thing Bail Bonds. And then the other is it goes directly into a Waffle House commercial. But prior to that, do you remember Dennis Hopper, Bruce Smith, Nike commercial?
Yes.
Bad things, man.
Bad man.
Yeah, bad things. That's at the start of this break. So I'm just hitting play. If the audio doesn't work, we'll abort. But if it does, I want to sit through this commercial break with you. Here we go. Come on, audio. All right. I have to turn that music off. That's my problem. So it starts off with just a preview of things that are happening on MTV in '93, and play the song "Believe" by Dick. All right, here we go.
Plug into the new buzz.
I am holding Bruce Smith's shoe, man. Do you know what Bruce does in these shoes, man? Bad things, man. I mean bad things. Things that I just can't possibly talk about. You know what Bruce would do if he found me messing with this shoe, man? Bad things, man.
When they came to Tombstone,
Commercial for Tombstone. All of this is great.
That's Wyatt Earp.
You must be Doc Holliday.
I hear he's real fast. By the time they left,
I want your blood.
they were legends.
None of your problem, Doc. You don't have to mix up in this.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me. Kurt Russell is Wyatt Earp. Val Kilmer is Doc Holliday.
I've never actually seen Tombstone, but I'm pretty sure I just saw D-Day from Animal House in the second thing I've ever seen him in. Nikki Taylor? Remember Nikki Taylor? I remember Nikki Taylor. This is 1993 commercials airing on MTV in the state of Virginia. So these are like the national ones, but we're about to go local with Do the Right Thing bail bonds, and it's fantastic. I think it's next. We're just sitting through this. This is fun. Bear with me.
Pantene Pro V Mousse sprays and gels for hair so healthy it shines.
You'll see.
Oh well.
Yo, it's Wise Guy again. Just got our hands on over 20,000 more quiz questions and answers that they don't want us to know.
Movies. Rock and roll.
Sports legends.
Which famous basketball player used to be a garbage man?
More than 20 different programs, each with 1,001 questions.
Scott, look that one up. Which famous basketball player used to be a garbage man?
TV trivia.
Why does Michael Jackson wear a glove in one hand?
All stuff wise guys know. Hey, you got a quiz whiz, you're a wise guy.
Quiz whiz
I don't think we want to know that Michael Jackson answer.
Just sold separately. Batteries not included.
All right. Okay. Levi's commercial. I apologize. There's no easy way to scroll through this, but I want to get to the do the right thing. Bail bonds. This obviously is a commercial for pants. Huh?
Yeah, do you know who the person is in the Levi's here?
No.
Is it a famous person or is it just
No,
a
it's
model?
children. This is a kid's one. Nobody I recognize. Okay, here we go, I think.
Hello, Mama. I'm in jail and I need help.
But, son, I don't have any collateral. There must be someone who will work with honest people.
Do the right thing, bail bond. You don't have any collateral? One moment, please.
Ma'am, if we put our heads together to post a bond, will your son appear in court when required?
I trust God he will. Everything works out just fine. Things are always right when God's will is done.
Things are always right when God's will is done.
Welcome to Waffle House. May I take your order?
I just don't know. What would you suggest?
Well...
My grill's all fired up with good things to eat.
Just plates and plates of super unappealing food.
Come on in and have a seat. 'Cause I'm cooking. Oh, I'm really cooking.
Hope you save room for dessert.
All right, I'm going to shut that for now. All right.
I think it's interesting that the older woman asked the question, what do you do when good people just need collateral and don't have any? And it's like, well, I mean, the whole basis of the call is that one of you is not really that good of a person, apparently.
But we can trust him. We can trust him to go to court because of God.
Right. If this was refrigerator bonds, where you need a new refrigerator and you're like, I don't have any collateral. What do you do when my old refrigerator breaks and I'm just a good person and I need a new refrigerator?
Yeah.
Totally get it. You're
Mom,
like, hey, listen,
I'm in
a
jail.
good person. I will pay.
Yeah.
But the commercial starts with,
Mom, I'm in jail.
I'm in jail. And that's all automatically we're starting at a baseline of, according to officials,
Not a good person.
not a good person.
Yeah.
Not a law-abiding person.
Right. So then the next thing would be like, all right, well, we don't trust you, so how about collateral? And she's like, I don't have that either. Okay, so now we can't trust you, and you've got no collateral. All right, let me put you on hold for a second, and you can talk to the guy in the back. And he's like, hey, ma'am, maybe. And then they just walk
with God's will.
They walk out of the courtroom. She's like, yep, God is good. The end. Do the right thing, bail bonds. Just amazing. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And you have to see the people, too. I know you couldn't see it while just talking to me on here, but the visuals were fantastic, too. It's a very poorly executed spot for what doesn't seem like a great business. There's a lot more going on other than there being a commercial from 1993 on a video I watched last night. I watched so much Joe Brady stuff yesterday that I'm excited about him. And I didn't expect... My overall position was
in a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome,
maybe
type of thing, which you're susceptible to.
I am. I absolutely am. But the position I was in, I wasn't mad about it. I was like, all right, well, it's not the most exciting, thrilling, crazy, interesting thing, but I don't need to win in January. I mean, I need to win football games in January. I don't need to win press conferences. I need to win football games. And I just got the impression after everything I watched that the thought was, let's get good vibes in this room. And I just started thinking about how serious and borderline dour Sean McDermott has been. And, by all accounts, good dude. But everything is just so straight-laced and straightforward. And, obviously there's room for that. But maybe it's time to just, I don't know, let the older brother babysit or let the uncle babysit or something. And, Dad, go on vacation for a little while. We're going to chill. And we're going to have a little bit more fun. And I don't know, man. Things just seemed loose, and loose seemed right. But you can tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. It's just the impression I had. I was in a good mood yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was I remember a time when my nephew was around 1, and he was sitting on my lap. I was out on the back porch, and I decided to take a picture with him holding my beer.
Yep.
And it was a good picture.
It's
and
fun.
then it was like, don't ever show that to anybody. I got quite a clap back fairly quickly from the mothers in the vicinity. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I would assume no one would really think I was just letting him drink it. He does, he barely eats solid food. I'm not going to say,
Right.
take a swig. But okay, I went along with it, and it's, I hear you. It's a little bit of, all right, this is work. There is an element to say that it's a professional environment, and that discipline and that type of atmosphere is warranted. But it also has to fit the personnel you have. I've never really thought that anybody's personality or anything was being limited. Maybe it has been, and I haven't noticed it. I don't know. I've always thought Josh had a pretty good personality. He's
For sure.
Every commercial break, no matter what you're watching, he's in.
No matter what teams you're watching. I like when you're watching like the Rams, and then there's a commercial for SoFi. They're playing in SoFi Stadium, and it's Josh Allen.
Right, it's Josh.
It's my favorite.
It's Deion Dawkins. There's always been pretty good personalities. Maybe it's been a little bit tighter on the defensive side, but I don't know. Maybe this will loosen things up and give them a little bit more freedom to, as he said, be themselves. We'll see. Sometimes that comes with a little bit undisciplined stuff. But we talked about it a couple weeks ago. There's always a transfer between coaches of one style to another. You never go from, Bear Bryant to Vince Lombardi.
Right.
Those are the same disciplinarian, hardcore guys. It's Vince Lombardi to Rex Ryan. Like, that's what happens. So there is a little bit of a switch there. I've got no problem with Joe Brady, as far as him getting the job. I did see one good comparison that I hadn't thought about on Twitter. That was the Bills might have been at a position where it was similar to the Falcons, where they were good and Arthur Smith was the coach and they had the young prodigy and Shanahan as the offensive coordinator, and they chose to stay with the older guy, and they let Shanahan walk.
Yeah.
And he ends up being the young prodigy for San Francisco and taking them to the NFC Championship game every other year, the Super Bowl 2-3 times. Now, he hasn't won, but he's also been there with, Garoppolo. He's dragging the last pick in the draft to the goddamn Super Bowl.
Well, and they're in the conversation every year. When they miss the playoffs, it's surprising. They've become a very solid franchise again.
Right. And the Falcons chose wrong. And here the Bills have somebody that obviously most of the rest of the league also considers to be in that similar category, who's had a lot of success, who you could say didn't have great pieces but still made it work somehow this year. And they're not going to let him out the door. They're going to roll the dice with him. He was also a major part of what, even after this year, is, in my opinion, still the best offensive team that I've ever seen in college football, which is that 2019 Joe Burrow-led LSU Tigers. He was the co-offensive coordinator for that. So he certainly has bones. He's called plays, which to me was a big thing. If you're going to have a coach that hasn't even called plays, I don't know how that works. And he's been around the program and knows everybody involved and can kind of hit the ground running. I love the offensive coordinator move that he made here today. I know you sent that to me earlier. I totally am blanking on the guy's name.
Pete
right
Carmichael.
Now, but Pete Carmichael. And I like it for numerous reasons. One, because I think it's going to give a little bit more under center play action for Josh, which I think he is the best at in the league, probably other than Stafford. That the threat of the running game opens up so much for Josh in those situations. and coming from under center, they're just really, really good, especially with the tight ends too. They're very good in that game. Carmichael is of that ilk. That's one. Two, Carmichael has spent most of his coaching career as the offensive coordinator for Sean Payton, which, if you know, Sean Payton calls the plays as the head coach. But Carmichael is the offensive coordinator, and he's not only hiring an experienced coach, but he's hiring an experienced coach that is stepping into a role he's okay with. And that is very unusual. To find an experienced coach at Carmichael's stage of his career that would be willing to go in and take the offensive coordinator job but not call the plays is unusual. Look no further than the New York Jets, who looked like they had a deal all but done for defensive coordinator in Wink Martindale, and then Wink flies to Florham Park, only to find out that the head coach, who just presided over a team that was terrible, wants to meddle and call plays sometimes, and he's like, I'm not doing that. If you're going to make me the defensive coordinator, I'm going to run the defense. And that fell apart, and they ended up hiring some other young guy that's never done it before because they had to settle for a guy that's willing to let the head coach meddle in a way. I don't see it as meddling here with Brady as much as that, but
not when it's clearly defined
still,
right at the top, and you're bringing in a guy like he promotes himself as a part of the Sean Payton coaching tree. So the name Sean Payton keeps coming out of Brady's mouth. That means that's my idol, that's my hero, that's who I looked up to, or that's who I look up to. That's where I learned the system of the structure of a coaching staff, and he's trying to emulate that with the best available guy for that spot. This is a guy in Carmichael who he got to New Orleans in 2006, the same year as Drew Brees. Started off as a quarterbacks coach, became quarterbacks and passing coordinator, and then within, I think, 3 years became offensive coordinator and held that position for 15 years. The duration of Drew Brees' NFL career was under this guy's watch. And yeah, Peyton's calling the plays, but you can't have Peyton. And Brady's looking, and he made a big thing about I'm not going to hire friends. I'm not in this to hire friends. I get one chance to be a head coach. I'm here to hire the best coaches. That doesn't preclude acquaintances from the past. I think
you still have to know guys,
right? Like I
and trust guys.
I feel like there's criticism right away. Like he said he's not going to hire his friends. This guy seems like it's his friend. Like yeah, they're gonna be friends, but I'm not hiring people because they're my friends. I'm hiring I've always said this. You are my friend. How did you become my friend? You became my friend because we both worked in the same business and had similar sensibilities and worked well together. And when I saw an opportunity, I'm like, hey, I could use a guy, call Scott. And then the next thing you know, you're working at a new place. Like, oh, that's how it goes. Like, if I become the head coach, I'm going to seek out the people that I know are awesome at this. So that's the move. Yeah, you have a relationship with him, but I don't know. I don't feel like he should have to apologize for knowing somebody after he said, I'm not here to hire my friends. That's true. I'm not here to hire my friends. I'm here to hire the best workers. Some of the best workers become my friends because we work so well together. And I don't know. I think that's a pretty apt comparison, no?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, a lot of – we've heard Coach Lembo over at UB talk about the fact that his time in between head coaching gigs was essential because he was able to meet and make relationships with a lot of new coaches and meet a lot of new up and coming guys. That's how Joe Bowen ends up there, is he was able to make relationships with people and see new ideas and meet new people and things like that to be able to rejuvenate his coaching tree. So, it's an important part of it. And again, for a young head coach to be able to have a guy that he trusts, has worked with, has a similar view of him and a similar view of the game as him, and is also comfortable with the position of being the offensive coordinator without directly calling plays is, I think, a coup for him to be able to say, I trust that what this side of the ball is now is going to be what I want. And we're going to fill it out with everybody else and the other assistants. But I've got a guy that I know, I trust, is good, and is comfortable in the position. I don't think he has to worry about losing Pete Carmichael unless he's going to get a head coaching job. You know what I mean? He's not going to.
Yeah.
If he wasn't fine with the situation, he wouldn't have spent 15 years behind Sean
in the
Payton
same
calling
role,
plays. Right. So he's going to the same role, and I think it's very important. That was a really good hire. Very important for him. To have an experienced ear and a guy there who's been there, done that, seen everything in the league, like Carmichael has, for a young head coach, I think is invaluable in general. But to have him in that position is a good hire.
Yeah, the connections I just think are awesome. If I'm Joe Brady, like, I love Sean Payton. He made me who I am. We think about football the same way. This guy thinks about football the same way. This guy is comfortable in that role. This guy was just a part of the offense that beat our team in the playoffs, and then their team lost in the playoffs, and we just took this guy away from there. That's interesting to me. I don't know how you pull that off, if that's money or if that's power or just better. I don't know. I don't know how you get somebody to switch in that spot. But good job.
In Denver, he wasn't the OC. He was just an offensive analyst.
Oh, senior offensive assistant. There it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he,
all right.
he
So it's a
wasn't
promotion
in that. So yeah, he's I'm sure going to get paid more and more of a promotion.
Okay. Yeah. He's been there for a couple of years. Went there with Peyton and was with Peyton forever in New Orleans. So he hadn't been elevated to that spot yet, but obviously on track to maybe be that at any at the drop of a hat if somebody leaves. So okay, that makes sense.
And I would assume he's also seeing Bo Nix and Josh Allen.
Right.
That then has to make a choice which horse he's hitching his wagon to.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And that becomes a pretty easy decision.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to ask before you pointed out the OC. Not being the OC there. It's simplified very much so, but interesting that he would walk from Peyton to a Peyton protege, who's younger than he is, I would assume. Quite a bit. Carmichael's 54. How old is Joe Brady? 36 or something? 38?
I think. 37, 38.
All right, whatever. It's fine. It's nothing crazy. He's ready. He's ready. I mean, like he said, you don't know till you know. So, I don't know. I felt great about it. I felt like I got to know him yesterday. And I also understood how you could interview 9 different candidates and still go, who I enjoyed hanging out with? Was that guy.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe.
You know who entertained me and made me feel good about myself and made the room feel right? Was that guy. And I think more than anything, what they're trying to tweak is a vibe. They're not trying to overhaul a coaching staff. They're trying to tweak a vibe. And I think this guy seems like a perfect candidate to do that. And then he, in theory, comes with competence. This first hire looks like a very, a perfect veteran type of hire. Again, you never know. Maybe we'll hate him 6 months from now. But as of right now, I couldn't feel better about everything I heard and saw yesterday, including his appearance on the McAfee show, or Ryan Fitzpatrick talking about him on his show with Andrew Whitworth and talking about Bean and the process, and all of it just made me feel great. I went to bed happy as a Bills fan yesterday.
Well, good for you.
Thanks, man.
Thoughts?
I was just going to do it too. All right, what else?
I've got some. I've got a bunch of stuff here.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with just a couple of quick college notes before we get to. I mean, there's only one NFL game left. A couple of quick college notes. They both have to do with the Big Ten. This week, the Big Ten released their football schedule for next year. The reason why that's interesting and fun is that I didn't see a stat for it, but this is the first time I can remember it. The last 3 national champions, Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana, will all face each other in this coming year. With the rotating schedule and there being 85 different teams in the Big Ten, this becomes unusual now. And I think that that's fun between, obviously, Ohio State, Michigan, the weekend of Thanksgiving, but then in October, the other 2 matchups where we're going to get to see the best 3 teams from the last 3 seasons. I know they're totally different, but
sure,
that's still a fun thing that very rarely happens. The other thing from the Big Ten is that after the new year, some of the financial stuff starts to come out as far as teams in the conference, especially for schools that are state universities. One of the state universities in the Big Ten is Rutgers. It's technically the State University of New Jersey. and they put out their financials, and since joining the Big Ten in 2014, they have lost $516 million.
Oh my God. How much of that was to us?
Virtually impossible to do, seeing as the Big Ten has one of, if not the largest TV deals. Like each program gets like $60 million a year just from TV rights alone, let alone the football games, the basketball games, and everything else. To lose $500 million in 10 years is staggering. And it's why you see some of these schools considering taking on the private financial money that schools like Utah are taking on private investors, which will get them money in the short term. But as we've seen from every other business that investing like that has ever become a part of, it will eventually be stripped down and sold to the highest bidder with zero regard for winning. So I think that
why would you invest in that? Like, sure, they should turn to investors, but like, hey, I would like you to invest in my business. We lost about $500 million in recent memory, but we think we could really turn it around if you could just give us $500 million. You know, like, how do you talk somebody into it?
I think that the way you would try to approach that is to say, look at Indiana. They got Mark Cuban and a couple of other famous alums involved, got money, brought in the players and a coach, and went, are 2 for 2 in the playoffs and won a national championship. So I think if you're Rutgers, you could say, listen, we're in a recruiting hotbed. We can start here. We're a short drive from other recruiting hotbeds in Pennsylvania and Maryland, Upper Virginia. We could do this, but we don't have the money. I think that would be the approach. Like, everybody's approach now is going to be selling, we could be the next Indiana. I don't know if that's possible, because now that if you think everybody's going to try to be the next Indiana, it's going to mean that all the prices for all these players are going to go up.
Right.
Pretty rapidly. So you may think you could be the next Indiana, but you could be the next Indiana. Unfortunately, that's 4 years ago.
You need to be the next Indiana and find the next Signetti, though, right? I mean, that's the whole story there. The money works, but you got to get all the people right, and then those people have to get the people right. And Indiana got the people right, and it's an incredible story. But how replicable is it for a school in New Jersey or anywhere? I don't know. You're right. That's the model. We're going to be this. My movie's going to be the next Pulp Fiction. Well, okay, I can see what you're trying. I can see what you're trying to do here, but 8 heads in a duffel bag wasn't quite Pulp Fiction. Like they just the things to do in Denver when you're dead was not quite Pulp Fiction. I get that you saw Pulp Fiction and thought you'd make Pulp Fiction again. It didn't work. You didn't have the same vision for it. You didn't have the right guy at the top, and then you didn't bring in the right people underneath, and it's a disaster. So yeah, I can see that's the goal. But good luck, everyone. Just replicating one of the craziest stories we've ever seen in American sports. Good luck.
So we're transitioning here before we get to a little bit of Super Bowl stuff. The Senior Bowl is going on, and I have come across an offensive lineman that I think we should all fall in love with here. His name is Jennings Dunker. He's an offensive lineman from Iowa. He has red hair, and it's a glorious mullet. He is a big dude. If you get a chance to see his interview that he did, I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, on the NFL Network, it was great. Because you can tell, first of all, he's got the mullet flowing. He tells a story about how when he was a freshman, he came in, and one of the guys in front of him had a mullet and played great and was like all Big Ten. But then he cut it the next year. It wasn't as good, and then grew the mullet back the following year and got drafted. So once he saw that guy's power was seemingly derived from his hair, he said, I am growing a mullet and keeping it, and I hope that I can get drafted.
Wow.
He's already going from the point of, I think the hair is the deal. He's also talked quite a bit about his food regimen. including the day before games, he has like big plates of pasta, then waits an hour to have 3 cheeseburgers and hot cocoa.
Oh my God.
Which is great. And then also admits that when he's on the sidelines, he does have snacks and drinks coffee.
He drinks coffee on the sidelines.
Yeah. They're like, how do you like your coffee? He's like, black. That's the only way to take it. You just got to take it straight up.
Wow. What's his name?
Jennings Dunker.
Jennings Dunker.
Jennings with a G, by the way.
It starts with a G? Like Gennings?
Yeah, Jennings.
Gennings?
Yes. Gennings Dunker.
Gennings Dunker.
Offensive lineman from Iowa.
All right. There he is.
He's
You
got
gotta
the
see this
flow.
guy.
He's got the
Oh,
lettuce
yes.
chicken.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Can he play?
Yeah, he play a little bit. He's at the Senior Bowl. You know,
Oh,
he
yeah.
can play.
What's the draft
He's not
projection?
I don't know. I would probably a mid-round pick. I would
Jennings
imagine. Right?
Dunker. I don't know, but I want him. Draft.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this guy. He's got sort of it's kind of a Joe Dirt. It's kind of a Kid Rock. It's kind of there's like a Stifler thing going on there, too. Kind of a Doug Henning in one of the shots. Oh, I need this guy. Big, dumb mustache.
Yep.
Stupid mullet. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good scouting.
Yeah. No, that's a guy that you're like
Late first,
all right.
early second.
He is. He has the absolute possibility in Buffalo to be a star.
Oh my God! Picture if
to be a star because
the star. He could
he's
be
very well spoken.
I like him better than Josh.
He has a great attitude. Did really well in the interview. Seemed fairly nice. His original plan. He says in the interview that he graduated with some type of like medical/science degree. His original plan was to be a pediatric doctor.
Okay.
And he's like, but we're doing the football thing for a little bit here.
Okay.
It's like,
that could be trouble.
Oh,
that could be trouble.
okay.
They get into that. Does he love football question? Remember?
Well,
Remember that can hurt people.
Then let him slip down the draft.
All right. Yeah. Right now it says
Bring that
late
guy
first,
in.
early second round pick. Just AI overview. I'm not looking at anything in anything specific. Just a general assessment of the whole thing. I'm trying to find a decent picture of him to actually put on the screen so people can hear.
And I like
or people can
O-lineman
see what we're
from
talking
Iowa.
about. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. All right. You can go to your next thing. I'm going to find this dude somewhere.
O-linemen from Iowa are like, hey, do you like chicks from Miami? Yeah. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, yes, I do. All right. So my next thing. Do we even need to talk about Belichick not making the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. I haven't really
okay.
discussed it yet. I find it fun, but I also find it wrong. But I also get it because he's going to get in, and this is what voters do. The only power they have to say, I still don't approve of all the things I think you did to get all those titles, and for that reason, I'm not going to let you in. And I would feel like it was a bigger problem if there's 3 people that did it, but there were 50 voters, and of them, more than 10 said no. So that to me kind of says, look, this is a sentiment that's there in the room. It's not just some holdout. This isn't a jury where somebody's hanging it because they refuse to listen to what everybody else is saying. More than 20% of the people voting said, nah, not right now. And so that makes me feel better about it.
Well, I
Plus,
think
I don't
the thing that it is exposing is the problem isn't the voters. I think the problem is the process. And you and I talk about this all the time, about how all these Hall of Fames have set arbitrary numbers on how many each year can get in. And it's like, I feel like you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. And like,
yeah, no
Eli
minimum,
Manning,
no maximum,
again.
just let him in. Or don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer or not? And they seem to be playing this game of, well, he's going to wait. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not a second ballot Hall. Maybe he's like a fourth or fifth ballot Hall of Famer. Like, what does that mean? That means that he's not a Hall of Famer. I appreciate the writer from Kansas City. I don't know his name. He writes for the Kansas City Star, but he's been the only person that has come out, wrote an article, and said, "I am one of the people that did not vote for Bill Belichick," and explained his reasoning, and it makes perfect sense. And it was, I only get to vote for 3 of these guys.
Right. Yeah, I was going to bring up that part of it.
I'm voting for the 3 players that might never get their name in this conversation again.
L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, Kenny Anderson.
Right. And they played, and I voted for the players. And if I had a 4th vote, it would have gone to Bill Belichick. But I know he's going to get in. So why would I do that to these players that literally might only get this one opportunity to get into the Hall of Fame if I deem them worthy enough to get into the Hall of Fame? I think Ken Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame, but that's a different thing.
You do or you do not?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't think Ken Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame either. I can come around on L.C. Greenwood.
I grew up thinking Ken Anderson was a regular average quarterback. I missed, his prime, but I saw him in the Super Bowl. I saw him lose to Montana, but Roger Craig, I grew up thinking is an amazing part of the best team that exists. And that's something to me. Like, I felt like I was watching a Hall of Famer then. That said, I've seen 100 running backs since then that I, would rather have on my team than him. But at the time, in the moment, he felt like a massive star on a massive team. And so I can get there. And then L.C. Greenwood is before my time. But you bring up a name from those Steelers teams, and they're all in to me. Like, sure, I don't know which one's which. I just know when I first learned of football, it was the Steelers win all the time. And only the remnants were there. I saw a little bit of Mean Joe Green. I didn't see, but whatever. It doesn't matter. But you can list, was Blunt the best? Yeah, I think so. I think they were all the best. So I'm good with Greenwood. Plus, I knew him from light beer commercials.
Which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. I think Belichick. The thing with Belichick is, I think he should get in based on his defensive coordinator abilities.
Sure.
Alone. And then let alone what happened as a coach. The interesting thing is, if the majority, we know where the Kansas City guy that voted against him is, and it really wasn't about Bill Belichick. It was about the process and the fact that the players, and I agree with that. Also in this, we need to stop putting owners in the Hall of Fame. Kraft was also up to get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah,
these are just billionaires. They have nothing to do with anything.
If one of these players doesn't get in, Kraft will. So Kraft will be in, and Belichick won't, because 3 of the 5 are going in.
Right.
Right. I think that's my understanding of it.
Should get like an award or something like that. They shouldn't be inducted like this. It's ridiculous.
It's one thing when you're Lamar Hunt or Al Davis or Ralph Wilson, and there's like a building aspect to it, but the team fully existed. You bought it, won some championships. Those are, a lot of that's in question. And I don't know, like who feels good about that?
If the rationale for the other voters that did not put Belichick in is he should be punished for a year because of Spygate and all the scandals that happened around him, will that same interpretation be used for Tom Brady? Because he was directly implicated and directly accused of Deflategate.
There's going to be a sentiment,
like it or not.
I mean, does it get? Well, it won't be in this exact context where it's 50 voters picking 3 out of 5, and it won't be that. He'll just be on the regular ballot. But that sentiment will exist for sure. Someone's going to say, "Hey, we did this to Belichick. He's tied in here. Why would we not?" So, will it be overwhelming enough that he doesn't get in right away? It could. We live in a world where Barry Bonds isn't in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and Clemens isn't, and Rose isn't, and Shoeless Joe Jackson isn't, and and A-Rod, and all these players that define the game in their eras. And they're not there. We've made it okay. We've made it okay to say, nah, I don't think so. Even though I watched him, even though he's consistently referred to as the greatest quarterback of all time, I don't think so. Not today. I don't want to vote for him right now. We've made it okay to do that, and that's I don't know. It's kind of a shame, but that's the system that has been set up for these various halls of fame. I do want to let you know that my man here, Jennings, what is it? Jennings Dunker is now on the screen, Scott, instead of you. So now I'm just sitting at the bottom of the screen, and he's there with his massive arms crossed above me.
I wish you could loan me some of that lettuce.
It's
I
really
got nothing up top. I could use some of that.
Were you a redhead? You're kind of a redhead, right?
It's like a strawberry blonde.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's got stuff you could use if he ever maybe like locks of love.
Right. Yeah.
You do like locks of love for you.
Locks of Dunker.
Locks of Dunker. Yeah, he's. I need this guy to be on the team. What stinks is you can't look at anyone who plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes and not immediately picture them as Pittsburgh Steelers because their uniforms are so similar. So like he looks like a Steeler to me right now, but I could see him in red, white, and blue.
So I've got some completely meaningless but fun stats that I came across for the Super Bowl that might help people. I know we have, a couple more shows until the Super Bowl as far as betting is concerned, but just some things to think about if maybe you're trying to get in on that.
All
right. Quarterbacks whose initials are DM are 0-2 in Super Bowl.
Donovan McNabb and Dan Marino.
Dan Marino are the two.
I thought of
Now
Danny
Drake
Manning before I thought of Dan Marino, but we got it.
Drake May obviously being the one in there. Quarterbacks in the Super Bowl whose first and last name end in the same letter. 0-6 since the AFC was created in 1970.
Okay, quarterbacks.
I don't have a list of those.
No, I'm just like the first name I thought of is Blake Bortles. He's nowhere near it. All right, we'll skip it. I don't have anybody in mind.
Okay, and there has never been a Super Bowl winning quarterback with a last name that has less than 5 letters.
A lot of things working in Darnold's favor, rather, in this one, right? All right, good. Well, I mean, I think there's a reasonable chance that this game is no fun and it's a blowout and it's Seattle, like in a landslide boat race, if you will. I think that's a very reasonable possibility, and I don't see the possibility of that going the other way. So I'm thinking close game if the Patriots are going to, win or lose, that's possible. But I could see Seattle just stomping them. I have not been impressed with Drake May in the playoffs. I know they're in the Super Bowl. I know they've moved on. They've won 2 games. I don't know. Part of it, I know that I don't want to like him, but I do like him. Like, I do think he's got a future. I do fear for the Bills' dominance because they've got a real coach and what appears to be a real quarterback, but I don't think he's there yet. Now he's going against Darnold, who, either one of these guys melts down in the Super Bowl, and you're like, I guess I could have seen that coming. But I just think it's more likely on the Patriots side, and I think the Seattle's just got a far superior roster.
So here's the other half of my my trivia that you might like.
Okay.
Super Bowl trivia. Schools that have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. This is colleges now. Colleges that have a Super Bowl winning quarterback and also a Best Actor or Actress Oscar winner.
That's going to be tough because I don't know what schools. I mean, like Juilliard has never had a Super Bowl champion, and I feel like that's where the actors are. I don't know what USC. USC has got to be on there, right? Everybody goes to USC.
Well, there are 5 schools that have done it.
All
And
right.
the reason that this question came across is because it is guaranteed this year that there will be a 6th team added to that.
So then it hasn't been USC yet.
This is actually the first time a USC quarterback's ever started in the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold, and then either you could John Wayne, Forrest Whitaker have both won. Things for North Carolina, it would be Drake May, and then Louise Fletcher.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Sure.
I think.
So I've got the 5 that have done it.
Okay.
There are 3 teams from the state that you would think that is involved with.
All right. So
Hollywood.
UCLA.
UCLA has Do you know the quarterback?
Aikman.
It's Troy Aikman. And then they actually have one of each, actor and actress. It's Nicolas Cage and Helen Hunt.
I don't feel like Nicolas Cage went to high school, let alone college.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but it's what it says.
Okay, fair enough. Helen Hunt seems educated. All right, what other schools? Stanford.
Stanford
Elway
has two quarterbacks.
Elway and Plunkett.
Correct.
And I'm not going to get an actress. Meg Ryan.
Reese Witherspoon. You're in the neighborhood.
That's really close.
Yeah.
Except Reese Witherspoon still has her own face.
That's correct.
All right. Another California school. There's something super obvious. Cal.
Aaron Rodgers. And Gregory Peck.
Nice. I like that one.
And then there is the other two. There's an ACC school and a Big Ten school.
All right.
Big Ten school that we've recently been at.
Minnesota.
No. Close. The rival.
Nebraska.
No.
Wisconsin.
Sorry.
I pictured
Russell
the
Wilson
red and then I got the.
Friedrich March.
I don't know who that is.
Me either. The other is a state, Florida ACC team.
All right, so I'm going to go Florida State.
Brad Johnson.
Ooh.
And Faye Dunaway.
I would have taken a long time on Brad Johnson, I think, so I'm glad you just gave me that one. I appreciate it. I looked it up. Louise Fletcher, I was right, is Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
So it's Cal, Wisconsin, Florida State, Stanford, UCLA, and then either USC or North Carolina will join that. Not really prestigious. It doesn't mean anything.
No, but it's interesting.
Coincidental group.
It's fun. It's fun. I like it. Did any of those are any of those on the president list? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Stanford. I think Stanford is.
I
think Stanford's one of them because this is Paul Peck's favorite question. Schools that have produced a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a United States president. And I think it was 5, and we could hit 6.
With North Carolina.
I don't remember. Is it Taft or not? It's like a weird Polk, like Taft, 4 letters. May. Is that all they do? All they do is have 4-letter players and presidents down there. All right, so that's cool. What else?
Keeping with the Hollywood theme here,
yeah.
I know you and I both enjoy documentaries.
Yes.
And we've talked about that a bunch. I don't know if you came across Variety's review of the new documentary titled Melania.
This morning I saw a bunch of headlines about it, and I didn't click on any of them because I don't care, especially since I heard, like, if this was some, like, cutting-edge, no official access type of documentary about her, I might be interested. But when I found out that this was a gift to the Trump family from Netflix, I lost some interest in wanting to see the film.
Yeah. And also, there's a clip out there. Apparently, there was like a live feed of the red carpet where you can overhear people working on the red carpet saying, yeah, we're just going to have to cut this off because none of these people that are supposed to be here even came. But it's a terrific Variety did not hold anything back as far as their review. Can I read you the headline?
Please.
Not the headline, but their main quote from this.
Yeah.
If they showed it on a plane, people would still walk out.
Somebody's been waiting to write that. They're like,
yes,
I'm going to review
their
movies
entire life.
And one day, like, that's how they knew they wanted to be a movie reviewer. Woke up one day with that line in their head. Like, it's got to be the right time. I can't use it on, The Incredibles 2. This has got to be monumentally awful. And when it is, I'm in.
All right.
That's fantastic.
It's gonna hit like crack in the 80s, and that's what has happened. It is everywhere. I mean, that is. If you were reviewing, that would be your last review, right? Because you're never gonna review anything that's gonna hit better than that.
Right. No, that's amazing. That's fantastic. I'm not gonna see that movie. I don't think.
I am not going to see it either, but I'm at least intrigued that it's that bad. Not surprised that it's that bad, but certainly intrigued that it is that it's that bad. My only other two things that I have written down here are one, the Olympics starting a week, Winter Olympics over in Italy.
Yeah, I found that out when I saw that Lindsey Vonn got airlifted off of a mountain.
Yeah.
Which, how old is she? That was surprising to me that she's involved, and then it's still, and it surprised me that
retired.
So she just
retired.
Okay.
Took 6 years off, and then the big thing was she just decided, kind of out of nowhere, with a titanium knee, to come back and make a run at this Olympics, and has actually been one of the top performers in the World Cup circuit this year at Super G and downhill, and was going to be one of the favorites to win the gold medal in Italy, because the mountain and the hill that they're doing it on, she has the most career wins on that hill of anybody anywhere on any hill. So it's almost like she was going to her favorite golf course and was going to get to play the round,
the home course,
to win the championship. And now here she is a week before in an event, basically a warm-up event. I guess there was some bad weather. Came off of a jump, was a little bit off balance, tried to right it, and then ended up over in the weeds and was limping. So that would suck for Team USA if the person that was not only the hottest, well, I mean, she is hot, but the hottest skier at this time in those events on her favorite hill in her biggest event a week before goes down.
Well, and also a recognizable name. Like, Team USA is mad at this, I'm sure, but NBC. I mean, that's a story. I don't pay attention. I didn't know the Olympics were starting in a week, and it got my attention. Lindsey Vonn, I know her. Let's check it out. She's 41, by the way. Here's what she said. This looks like just an hour ago. I crashed, I guess it's yesterday. I crashed today in the downhill race in Switzerland and injured my left knee. I'm discussing the situation with my doctors and team. We'll continue to undergo further exams. This is a very difficult outcome 1 week before the Olympics, but if there's one thing I know how to do, it's come back. My Olympic dream is not over. Thank you for all the love and support. I'll give more information when I have it. Thank you to all the medical staff who helped me today. I'm grateful for the incredible help. Thanks to sending my best to Marty Monson, who also had a major crash and injury today. But my Olympic dream is not over is the headline that I clicked there. So maybe something. I don't know.
There. I would assume that there's also a call that has been made today for the first alternate on that ski team to their parents, where it's like, hey, remember when I told you I didn't make the team? I was the first one out. You might have to come over to Italy next week. Because, I mean, if she's seriously injured, she can't go. It doesn't mean the U.S. loses that position.
Right.
They would just put somebody else that also has qualified and has enough World Cup points into that spot. And now all of a sudden, the person that a week before the Olympics wasn't planning on doing anything other than just being there has an opportunity to actually be an Olympian. So that could end up being a fun story for somebody. I mean, they probably come
even if they don't ski.
30th,
even if they don't ski, though, if they get that the trip to Italy that they didn't think they were going to get, that's fun.
Right. Yeah. So
come hang out in Olympic Village.
That's a big thing. The other thing to keep an eye on for the Olympics, I don't know if you followed the hockey situation.
No, I was just about to ask what's up with hockey.
Well, they have really had to rush to try and finish the arena. So there's been some issues there. I haven't checked on it lately, but as of like a couple of weeks ago, there still weren't seats in the arena. They were barely able to get like the actual ice surface built.
So it's the Bahamas Bowl?
Kind of. And also the dimensions for the rink are not correct.
Oh boy.
And they're just going to have to deal with it. So it's actually a smaller rink. And
does that favor North America?
From what I've heard, it is probably going to tend to favor North America, and is probably the reason why some of the choices were made by the American team, where, yes, there probably are some skilled players being left home, but if it's a tighter rink, I need some guys that are a little bit better in the tight spaces.
So is the NHL shutting down for weeks?
Yes.
Because I don't have room for that in my life when the Sabres are on a 23-1 stretch here and they're getting hat tricks every night and
it's going to be 2 weeks.
Third place. I didn't even see. All right. I guess I'll set my goal for then after the Olympics then to have my TV situation resolved because I haven't cared for a while. We've had YouTube TV for a while. It doesn't have MSG, and I haven't cared. But now I care. Like, I was happy last night to be out somewhere where the game was on TV because I knew when I got home I couldn't watch it on TV. And that's weird, considering that I have a million channels available to me, and it's 2026, and everything is available, and I just don't get the Sabres games. Now I want to watch them, but I don't want to dump the YouTube TV because everybody's used to that. We like it. It's very smooth. It's very easy. I got to add something. I'm going to have to get another thing. I don't want to get another thing, but I'm gonna set it for after the Olympics. I don't have to. Like, I was trying to scramble to watch the third period last night when I got home. Like, what can I do here? And I couldn't do anything. But this break in the action will get me set up. Then I'll get the TV set up, and then it'll all go south, and I'll be mad that I did it, and it'll be my fault that the Sabres aren't on a tear anymore. Right? That's probably the way it works. But they got a goalie who's won 10 straight games. They got a lot of stuff going on. They're third in the East in goal differential. They've got 5 straight wins, which is the longest streak in the league right now, again, after putting together that 10-game streak. But they've won 20 of 24 since December 8th. And
they're putting it on teams.
I think it's time for me to maybe watch them on TV. They're 8 points up. They're 8 points up on the first non-playoff team right now. Like, they're comfortably in the playoffs.
Is it okay to love again?
I don't love it. Just it's okay to watch again. That's all I was looking for. I'm looking for watchable. And then, get me to the playoffs. And I've been explaining to my kids, like, we don't watch hockey because it's been lame for a while. But when your team goes on a run in the playoffs, it's massive pressure-filled, pressure-packed, tension type of game every other night for 2 months. Like, it's crazy. So we're going to have to get caught up here. I got to get the kids. Like, I brought my son Drew on last week. I'm like, how many Sabres can you name? And he said Alex Tuck. And that was it. And that's because kids in his class wear Alex Tuck jerseys or something. That's all he knows. He can tell you, the fourth receiver for the New Orleans Saints, but he can't name a second Buffalo Sabre. I think we need to address that and adjust it in time for the playoffs, a place that it seems like they could very reasonably land this year, finally.
My last thing is this weekend is the Royal Rumble in WWE world, and it is going to be covered on ESPN for the first time. That's if you're not familiar with that and you're wondering all of a sudden why this week SportsCenter and different places have been talking about WWE, it's because they have paid to talk about it, and they have my kids have been into it, so I'm familiar with all this. The Royal Rumble is by far the best pay-per-view event. It's not pay-per-view anymore. You can just get it through ESPN if you have the cable package type of thing. You got to sign up, but you can eventually get it. It's by far the most fun. It's much better than WrestleMania. They just randomly send 30 different guys into the ring every 2 minutes. Well, and then they all hit each other, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And this year it's even more fun because I don't have to wait until 8:00 to see it, because it's in Saudi Arabia. It starts in the afternoon, so I can just get that out of the way and then, resume life. I like having afternoon events better than nighttime events on the weekend.
Is there a massive pushback on the Saudi Arabia thing like there was for the Riyadh Comedy Festival?
Well, they've been doing it over there so often now that it has kind of gone away. You will notice a big difference if you watch it, that the women have to be covered head to toe, or neck to toe. They're able to they let them keep their hair out, but like usually where they would come in basically in a bikini.
Yeah,
that's gone. They're like, their arms are, it's like a tight suit, like a Catwoman tight suit.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Okay.
But that's a main difference. There was a big pushback at the start where They called it blood money in the sand.
Yeah.
People were calling, but they've had one or two pay-per-views there every year for 5 or 6 years.
Oh, okay.
The Saudis keep giving them billions of dollars to do it, and they keep taking it and sending it over there, and there hasn't been anywhere near the blowback that the comedians faced.
Has there been any thought of putting the women like in a separate venue in at Ford Field, so that they could do it the right way?
No, because they're paying for that too. I do remember a couple of years ago, it was a big deal that part of the promotion for the event in Saudi Arabia was they had billboards, and it was the first time that they'd ever allowed a woman on a billboard.
That's nice.
Something along those lines. And, they're trying to paint it. They're trying to use WWE, was really the first big brand, as kind of a sports washing type of situation where it's like, look, it's not terrible here. We let women drive now and everything, which is a real thing. That's a recent thing.
That's nice.
Yeah.
When did that happen? This year?
No, I think that was a couple of years ago.
Oh.
So,
come around.
Saudis, just like everything else, just throwing the cash around, and eventually people come around to whatever's going on.
All right. Cool. Thanks, man.
All right.
Good to talk to you. We'll talk to you Monday about something. We did a lot today.
Something will happen.
I feel like more Bill stuff is going to happen now that there's they had the press conference. Now there's an offensive coordinator. I think that starts coming into
They
line.
got to get a DC.
Yeah.
They got to do DC. That's an important pick.
All right. You're on it. You'll be all over all these coaches. I know that. So we'll talk to you then.
I'm interested to see if they could. I know he's still under contract. Could they pry Schwartz away from the Browns? Would be interesting now that he's all the head coaching job there in Cleveland.
Right.
Is there something there that
seems like he wants a move? It seems like
he does not want to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think I would absolutely be okay with that, and I think that's kind of the collective.
I'm fine
thought.
with Leonard too. Jim Leonard, I like a lot.
So. Yeah, me too. All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
There's Scott.
See you.
All right. Bye. There's Scott Wilson. I'm Brad Riter. Thanks for listening, watching, sharing, following. Remember the thing I said at the beginning? Even if you just do the YouTube thing, go to Spotify and follow, subscribe, whatever it's called. All the little things add up, even if you tune in every day here, but you haven't clicked subscribe or you haven't clicked the notification bell thing, click all the stuff. Comment when you can, review, rate, all the stuff. Just little things. It's like an organic process of growing this into the size program I'd like it to be. You guys have found it. You guys are helpful in spreading the word. I can only do the show. I need other people to be like, hey, check out the show. Because I can't constantly tell you to listen or watch a show that I'm hosting. I can't do that myself. I need your help. So spread the word, please. Thank you to everyone. Thanks to everybody who came out to Brain Vault on Tuesday. And thank you to those of you who will come next Tuesday. Second edition, guaranteed to be better than the first. Certainly from a technical standpoint, we got some stuff that we've hammered out that's going to be better. I mean, that was the first try. That was preseason, kind of. Tickets at thecazbuffalo.com. Thank you for listening, watching, paying attention, giving me the time of day, and the sharing part, too. Very important. All right. That's it for episode 255. Thank you. Bye.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?